Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Descent into Madness podcast. I am your host, Chris, doing the intro this time. I am joined by my two lovely female friends.
I'm Michelle Obama. Nice to meet you.
Was good, Chi.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, with
came up in their
the
voices.
delay, I thought you were just gonna choke and not say anything today.
You know,
I was
I
kind of hoping for it too.
honestly was seconds away from choking on my own spit. Right there. Like, just fucking dying.
That's because what I thought was funny was you said 3, 2, 1, start, and then I didn't hear anything for a second. I was like, he choked. He's just gonna let it be silent.
3, 2, 1. I almost immediately broke into the iCarly intro. Almost like without missing a
I
beat.
have
And, like,
conditioned you to be nothing but Nickelodeon from work with my constant willingness to jump into the big time rush theme with everything you say.
Dude, it's just all the time.
Ugh.
Oh man, all right, Michael. Cheese fact.
Yeah, you know what time it is. It's cheese fact time. And
It's
today,
cheese time.
the cheese fact comes from the same country as last week's cheese fact, England. Did you know that red Leicester cheese actually gets its color from a food dye? It's not the natural color of the cheese. It's also
What would you even I've never even heard of that cheese. So
red Leicester.
I haven't either.
what do you even use it for?
It's basically like a cheddar. It's just the processes and flavors are different. So whereas like a traditional English cheddar, like last week, is aged in a cave so that it has a mold on the rind. They brush that off, they cut that off so you can sell it.
Mm-hmm.
But with red Leicester cheese, it's basically the same process, but they add this this food coloring, which is actually an organic food coloring that they've been using for thousands of years, as far as I can remember, if not thousands, hundreds. But the whole point of it is they wrap it in a sort of paper that they stick to the cheese wheel with lard. And that way the mold doesn't actually get to the cheese. So they can still age the cheese without having that mold there.
Interesting.
I've had it and I absolutely loved it.
I'd be down to try it.
Think how I told you, I think in the first episode actually, about how aged cheddar is kind of sweet.
Yeah.
The red Leicester is like an aged cheddar, but it doesn't really have that sweetness to it. It's like it's kind of like the ultimate.
I think that
sharp
would be
cheddar.
pretty good.
It's the ultimate sharp cheddar.
The other thing too is in James May's famous cheese thing when he slaps the cheese down, that was a block of red Leicester.
Was it?
Yeah. It's a good cheese. I've had it. I wish it was more readily available here. I could probably find it in Wisconsin. That is the cheese state.
The cheese capital of
The
the United
US,
States of America.
yeah. But I don't know. I don't go to Wisconsin often enough because it's Wisconsin and they have Green Bay. And Green Bay is kind of a sad place to be because they have the Packers.
I didn't know you liked football.
I like English football, soccer.
I was about to say, it's like I was about to correct myself because I knew you were about to freaking say, oh, yeah, well, actually, the football I like.
I'm not gonna sit there and say, oh, actually.
You're in fucking America, bitch. We measure in inches and freedom.
Inches and moon landing.
Yeah, but no, I prefer that. I know there was a soccer match in the Premier League recently. A team got smashed 5-0, which is
Nice.
I honestly don't know if that's like a fucking blowout or just sad.
That's pretty good for a blowout. The worst matching I know of, and this was brutal. It was at a World Championship years ago. It was being held in Brazil, which is a huge country.
Yeah, I know
with
Brazil.
soccer. They love it. They play it. They're considered to be one of the best in the world. Well, they were up against Germany. And, being in the home of Brazil, the stands were packed with fans for Brazil. Germany
that country
beat
that
Brazil.
that they have to fucking put up riot teams for every game.
Yeah. Well, Germany beat Brazil 13-1. That in soccer is a slaughter. Not even close. Like, by the end of it, the fans were crying.
So what is like an average scoring game then? Like 3-2 or something?
You might see like 3-2 or 1-2. You might even get games where it's like 0-0 or 0-0. It's just because of how well it like all depends on the defense and the strikers. And oftentimes you'll see games that come out tie matches, or you'll have
I just
games
thought
that
they would
are
have been able to score more than that.
you would think. It really depends though on.
But I guess if like both teams truly have like basically the 100% skill you can have, like
Yeah.
it'd be like watching, have you ever watched like professional table tennis and they go volley for like 10 minutes straight before one guy's
and they're
arm
like
just gets too
13
tired?
feet from the table.
Yeah.
And I know back when I played soccer, there was one team that was a complete joke, because after every match, win or lose, they would invite the other team to do, and I shit you not, the hokey pokey in the middle of the field. I never once partook, because I don't much prefer to do the hokey pokey in the
issue
middle
with
of a
Dad's Club.
soccer field. Yeah, it was. But there was one game that we played against them, and the refs actually came up to us and asked us to stop scoring. By the time they had asked us to stop scoring, the score was 17-0.
Nice.
We finished the game 21-0.
I would have just kept scoring as much as possible. I would have made
We
the fucker
did.
mercy rule it.
We did. You don't walk up to us and tell us not to score. That's not how that works. Because when I was playing, if I got a goal, I could go to Culver's and I could get, a nice concrete mixer. Of course I'm going to score a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Kid,
And I mean,
his kid was probably on the other team, just getting fucking slaughtered.
I know. there were a few teams that everyone knew that no one liked. There was one that had this big kid. I mean, like 6'5" fucking behemoth named Kip. Everyone called him Chocolate Kip because, I don't know, chocolate chip or something. But
I thought you were going to totally different direction. with
No,
that.
no, no, no.
I thought we were about to get
But,
fucking racist.
No, 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 no.
Man,
no,
that's a
no.
record.
But he was white for the record. But he was notorious for pushing other kids. And
Yeah, that fucking size. Get out of his fucking way.
yeah. And I remember there was one match where their team was just pushing us nonstop, and they had this frilly little guy on their team that was always, whenever he was near us, I was a defender mostly because I was bigger than half my team. Not height wise, I was, fatter than them. But he every time he was up by me, he would sit there and nonstop talk trash. Well, one day, while we were playing against them, he was running at me with the ball with a big smile on his face. I full speed sprinted at this kid, grabbed the ball and knocked him flat out on his ass, and took the ball up the field and scored a goal. I was not to be messed with. I also knocked Kip into the stands.
Jesus Christ.
I had one girl that kept pushing me, so I shoved her to the ground, and she asked me, or she tried to get the ref to foul me, and I told her no.
See, that's one thing. Like, I hate society, dude. Like,
Well,
as I was just
we
about
live
to
in
say,
one, right?
Oh, shut the fuck up. I was about to say, like, I'm shocked that kid didn't get fucking in trouble for talking shit or get you in trouble for pummeling him, because
Right.
God forbid you talk a little smack. You know how much more interesting things can get if you could talk shit. Like, I even like in the professional sports, there's unsportsmanlike conduct and all that stuff. Like, you can't celebrate or anything. You can't say, haha, I tackled you, because then you get fucking flagged. Like, what the fuck?
even in the NFL, you can get fouled for over celebrating a touchdown.
Yeah. Like, it's so fucking stupid. And what's wrong with saying, like, yeah, get bent, nerd? Because you know how much the other team would want to fucking pummel you at that point?
Get
Granted,
bent,
though,
nerd.
I could understand if, like, in the NFL, if you scored a touchdown during the Super Bowl and you sent, like, an entire,
Get
like,
bent, nerd.
just crowd going crazy. You started busting out, like, dance moves on the field for, like, 2 minutes. The other team's just waiting. Like, I could understand that.
Okay, but that's when they should do something, not call it unsportsmanlike. They should call it, like, fucking delaying the game.
Yeah.
Like,
Delay of
I mean,
game.
within reason. But, like, literally, it's like even fucking high school. Like, okay, elementary school and middle school sports, I can understand there being a fucking rule and a cap on what you could say. You know, be polite because these are little kids. You know,
Yeah.
middle school, still, even though middle schoolers like to think they're full grown ass adults, they're not. You know, we all thought the same thing, but we weren't. But in high school, especially varsity, I think you should just let go of the taps and let the fucking men put the shit behind their voice, because they're going to talk shit either way. They're just not going to do it on the field. But you know how much more intense and awesome it is for people in the actual game to talk smack to each other.
That's why I like hockey.
Yeah, I was like about to say, it's like another reason, if you're going to get into any sport, get into fucking hockey. Because hockey is like, hey, score to win, losers, and that's it.
Score to win, losers.
Well, see, the other thing about hockey is, unlike almost every other sport that bans fighting, they instead made rules about how to fight. So you can full on throw hands with someone on the ice, but there's certain rules and guidelines you have to follow to throw hands with them.
It's like basically, like for the actual fight itself, you can't, like, you know, it's like wrestling rules, no below the belt, nothing like that.
No
And
below the belt.
you can't knock them out, and if you do, you have to stop.
Yeah. I think there was one where it was like, if you both grab each other's jerseys, you have to stop when you let go. So you could just sit there and full on wail into someone. Hockey's a good sport.
That and rugby. But rugby, honestly, doesn't get a lot of shit talking in because, honestly, that's a sport that just doesn't stop moving.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about rugby too is, I mean, I'm almost certain that the players spend more time trying to kill each other than they do trying to score.
Yes. It is a rather brutal sport, and it's a good sport.
Just like
That's what a sport should be like. Survival of the fittest. And if you're not part of the fittest group, you shouldn't have entered.
If you're not the fittest, you're not surviving.
Why did you think I didn't go up for any of these fucking sports? Because unless it was like fucking football, which I know I actually went tryouts freshman year football, creamed a motherfucker, and then didn't go back because I just didn't like football, and I just don't like football.
I was also on the football team freshman year.
Were you?
Yeah, they recruited me because my soccer coach was an assistant coach for West's football team. Or not an assistant, but, you know, his son was on there, and he's the star kicker. Well, they wanted me to be a kicker for the freshman team. Didn't tell me where to go, so I wasn't, like, down practicing with the freshmen. I was practicing with all the, like, seniors and the sophomores and all that. Got really good at kicking, and I let the coaches know, like, hey, when robotics comes up, if I like that, I'm going to that, and I'm not coming back to football. And they said, that's fine, we don't really care. Ended up going to the World Championship for robotics, so it was a pretty good trade-off. But for some reason, after the, like, 2 weeks I spent on the football team, they loved me. All of the, like, everyone in the football team just knew who I was and loved me.
Coach told everybody you were part of the Make-A-Wish.
It
was all fake.
No, because they called. They thought I was the brother of Adam. They thought I was his brother. Yeah, Gibby. Because I could kick like he could. Not nearly as good.
Gibby's got an iron fucking foot.
Yeah, I know because I've been kicked in the face by him. Twice. No, 3 times. Not by his actual foot. I have been kicked in the eye with a cleat when I was playing soccer.
Pussy. So you get being short.
Well,
you shouldn't
so-
be by their feet. You
No.
fucking gnome.
So what happened was, and it was the one game that they had me play goalie. They wanted me to play goalie, and the ball went up to me. I went down to pick it up. I had my hands on the ball, had it to my chest, blinked, and when I opened my eyes, a cleat went right into my right eye. And yeah, no. Yeah, not fun.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would be.
Dude, I am so hyped. This is totally different subject, by the way. Fucking trailer dropped like an hour ago for Better Call Saul season 6. I am
boy.
so happy. Been waiting 2 years for this. I cannot fucking wait. It's the final season. It's going to lead into Breaking Bad. And then of course I might have to rewatch Breaking Bad for like the 9th time. You know, you can't leave off on a cliffhanger.
Can't leave off on a cliffhanger.
I got to know what happens next. It's like this is like the one show that's like on actual TV that honestly makes me miss cable. The very little bit, because I never watch cable. Never. I watched Better Call Saul seasons 1 through 5 all on Netflix and YouTube like 2 years ago, and been sitting here waiting ever since. And then that's when my parents had cable. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just coming over to your house Tuesday nights. Like, you know, I'm watching Better Call Saul, whether you like it or not. And then they got rid of it, and then now it just comes out. It's coming out on April 18th, and it's going to be available on AMC Plus. But then I got thinking, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what is the point in getting rid of cable when every freaking channel and their mother has to come out with their streaming service and charge you $10 a month?
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty soon we're gonna have like Nickelodeon Plus and Cartoon Network.
That is a thing, Nickelodeon Plus.
It is.
Yeah,
No, I will tell you, if Cartoon Network does it and they have all the classics on there, like Ed, Ed and Eddie and Johnny Bravo, sign me up.
it pretty much is on HBO Max.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Nickelodeon Plus and Paramount Plus are the same thing. Discovery actually has a shitload of channels, and that one's only $5 a month. That's not a bad deal at all.
I will say, thank goodness we all grew up at the end of the golden age of television shows.
Yeah, I've been ranting to Chris about this for like the last 4 days. it's like I don't know why I just have been on a fucking tyrant. And I'll have to try to find the picture so I could show you that. But it's like this one picture. It says cartoons then, and it's showing Ed, Ed and Eddie, Chowder, and Flapjack, like showing the difference in how they look and were drawn and everything. And then it says animation today. And it's the same face for 4 different creatures. It was one for, I think it's called Star on Disney Channel. And then it was Steven Universe, Gumball, and Dipper from Gravity Falls. Literally all use the same
like art
face.
style.
Same.
And it has a name.
Now, I will say, what was it? Chowder wasn't a terrible show.
You're right, it was fantastic.
For parts. I mean, Rada, but like, there were
Honestly,
other parts of
Chowder's going to be one of those shows where I liked it all the time, but you're going to watch it and
it doesn't hold up. That's the biggest thing.
It does hold up. It holds up spectacularly. There's so many nuances to that you don't get as a child.
Maybe. I don't know. I watched Steven Universe. I liked it up until like the last few.
Awful.
I can't. There's
stand
definitely
that
parts.
show.
It was a good little show. I enjoyed watching it for a little bit, but I hate the fan base. The fan base can go and stick their heads in a wood chipper. Like, it is rancid.
No, honestly,
Rancid.
I hate those fucking shows because literally the entire thing was like, oh, conflict, big bad evil guy. We make him friends now.
Friendship and yeah.
That's like that's fucking stupid.
See, that was the thing that I didn't like because I was like, yeah, fights, and then
no conflict whatsoever. Oh,
it was a nice little
could be
show.
friend. Ah!
I do like the music from it though. They had some good music.
And that's why, like, I'm happy real animation shows in real animation studios are getting all partnered up with streaming companies. Like, Netflix is actually a massive one for a lot of independent ones. Like, yeah, I mean, I got Chris to watch some of the other ones I've been watching over the past 2 years, like Dragon's Dogma, Dota, the new Dota show. There was one more. I don't remember what the fuck it was called.
Arcane.
Yeah, Arcane, League of Legends Arcane, The Dragon Prince. I mean, all those fucking shows are done by pretty decent companies. And, like, even The Dragon Prince especially is the same people that made Avatar, The Last Airbender, like the original one, and are making this other show and they have actual conflicts and such. And especially with coming out on Netflix, they have a more open opportunity to be a bit more realistic. Like Dota, like, you know, you could straight up see people get their skull bashed in and cut up and sliced open. It's like, I like that, how that animation's going that way. And it seems that the animation on the streaming platforms that are independently bought and owned is really good and unique. But actual animation on, like, Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon are fucking copy and pastes of each other. And it's like Cartoon Network turned into one of those shows or one of those channels where, like, you're fucking embarrassed about watching it now. If it's caught on and you're caught watching it, you're embarrassed. When before, like, dude, I'd catch my dad watching Cartoon Network back in the day, but that was like, my gym partner's a monkey, and Chowder.
My gym partner's a monkey.
Chowder, Flapjack, Adventure Time. Like,
You know, the biggest fall from glory in those shows was Teen Titans.
oh my god, yeah.
Going to Teen Titans Go. It was such a letdown.
And I don't know, they still make it. Like, I don't know how people think it's so good, because it's brain deadening. Like, the original Teen Titans was actually properly part of the universe. They fought proper things of, like, you know, what the actual Teen Titans would have to deal with. And yeah, it showed their kind of interpersonal dynamics and some of those issues. Like, one of the best episodes ever was Slade versus Robin, when Robin was having a mental breakdown and Slade wasn't even actually there, but just kicking his fucking ass because he was going insane. And then you have Teen Titans Go, where they got to worry about what they're going to wear at the beach.
At the beach.
And it's stupid.
It's bad.
It's like, dude,
Like, it's one of those where they took the show that we watched as kids and they made it for even smaller kids.
Yeah. And like Teen Titans, yeah, it was, I don't want to say it appealed to kids, but what it did was make it watchable and enjoyable for kids, but it was more for a little bit of a more mature audience.
Yeah. I mean, we're never gonna see kids cartoons like Ren and Stimpy or Cat Dog again.
God, yeah. I mean, those are just at the end of, you know, their life. Like, that was a whole other era of cartoons. That was like my older brother's era, and my older brother's 7 years older than me. But we were at least young enough / old enough to catch the tail end of them.
Yeah, because we also had things like Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Return
And Billy and Mandy, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Those are good.
Stupid dog, you make me look bad.
That's it. I'm getting me mallet.
Yeah. The other thing is movie animation. Now,
everything went to the fucking shitty ass 3D CGI fucking Illumination style. That pisses me off so much. I hate the fucking Illumination animations. I hate.
What I miss is the good old classic hand-drawn cell animation. Now, I'm not talking like, you know, Disney's stuff like that.
You would really like League of Legends Arcane. That's exactly how that's done.
I'm talking Akira. Now that was animation. Like, that to me is the gold standard. If you've never heard of it, look it up. If you've never seen it, watch it. The cliche now of like sliding into the scene with your motorcycle on the slide, that comes from Akira. And it is probably one of the most copied things ever.
I've never
you
seen
know
it.
what I'm
I've
talking
never even
about.
heard of it. I know what you're talking about, the motorcycle slide with the little dust hitting from the back wheel.
Yeah.
That's more of an anime thing, though. That's
It
not
is.
really like we're talking Western movies, not anime. Anime's always been in its own league.
Yeah.
And just totally animation and anime has always been usually better. But honestly, like for normal fluid animations, nothing can beat old school Disney. Before Disney had a boner for fucking. Now they're doing
CGI.
real life adaptations and CGI. The only CGI company I am okay with doing CGI and did it right was Pixar. Pixar
Yeah.
did it fantastic. I mean, there's a reason why it blew up was because of Pixar. Pixar did such a good job. Even though
Have you seen
Pixar's
them-
not really a good company anymore because all they do is churn out shitty sequels as opposed to making new awesome movies.
But have you seen the moms that Pixar animates?
Ooh.
That's,
Hell yeah.
they know-
Fucking
they know what
Pixar
they're doing.
moms.
Pixar
don't-
moms do be one of those things where there are only a few certainties in life, and Pixar moms is
Few
one of them.
certainties.
I'm gonna make a religion. A shrine shall be built in the honor of Miss Incredible.
You did not just say Miss Incredible.
Uh,
Though you're
Well,
technically not wrong, but that
the
just
last-
fucking
You're not
is
wrong,
awful.
well,
but
I can't
it's
think
definitely incorrect.
Elastigirl.
of
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know Elastigirl, but because I could also say Miss Parr, but
Helen Parr.
Helen
to you.
Parr.
Ellen Parr.
God, so you're already failing the religion, is what I'm hearing.
Your the
It's time to make
religion
your
of
penance.
Pixar moms has rejected you.
Your penance is due. You
Look,
must.
I'm working.
You must
on
now
my
watch
cheese-
every Nicolas Cage movie ever for penance.
You know, that's not bad. I do like Nicolas Cage.
I like him in very small
Yeah, I feel like
amounts.
there's worse punishments you could create.
Now, if we were talking watching every what's his name?
Adam
He was in the
Sandler.
Mission. No, he was in the Mission Impossible.
Tom
'Cause it was
Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Now, if we were talking watching all the Tom Cruise movies, yes, I would cut my eyes out with an ice cream scooper. But
I think I'd rather watch Tom Cruise than Nicolas Cage.
Same.
I don't know.
Because
'Cause-
I've never seen really a bad Mission Impossible.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's just Tom Cruise. He just plays Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I mean, Nicolas Cage is much better
See,
in that.
you just
aspect.
keep saying that because South Park made fun of him. Because South Park says you shouldn't like Tom Cruise.
Oh no, I've never liked Tom Cruise. I always thought he was a cunt.
Why is he a cunt?
He just has that air about him.
I mean, he is a dick. Like in real life, he is a
Yeah.
fucking asshole. But I think he makes decent movies.
Like I know you were ripping on Adam Sandler. I know Adam Sandler has not made a good thing for a long time.
See, the
But-
thing is, the
but he
movies that
had-
you'd be forced to watch for Adam Sandler would be funny until a point, and
Yeah.
then they would just go on for eternity.
No, what it is that the punishment is you have to watch on repeat for 10 times Adam Sandler's Jack and Jill.
Okay, now we're talking, KGB levels of punishment.
This is like Prisoner of War.
No,
don't
but dude,
know.
I was actually telling Chris the other day, like fucking last week, I think. And it's like, dude, Adam Sandler movies are like my fucking guilty pleasure. Like, dude, I love Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah, and you should be guilty.
It's like it's not like I'm
have
like
to-
sitting there like I'm talking like the original Grown Ups, The Longest Yard,
Right,
like Lil
yeah.
Nicky, it's like the
Nicky,
classics.
Waterboy.
Waterboy. My mama said the reason my alligator just showed me is because
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore, fucking fantastic one. Two of them
Happy
with
Madison.
alligators.
Yeah.
It's like Adam Sandler can be a really funny guy it's like the issue is
When he applies
that-
himself.
is that he became like the way he acted back then became like a genre to where now he's just trying to act more like Adam Sandler instead of just being himself.
Yeah.
But like the newest movie he's made, I mean, it's older now. It's like, I think it was 2017 or 2016 is when it came out. But it's a newer-ish movie, The Do-Over with David Spade. That's a pretty funny movie, honestly. That's worth a watch. But now it's like Adam Sandler I think it's called Happy Medicine is his film company. Like he's always owned that film company, you know, with the freaking old man in the beginning. It's just with the golf ball just forever.
Terrific.
And it's his company, when he's not in the movie, as of recently, has made some really funny movies. Like The Wrong Missy with David Spade. I don't remember what the other girl's name is because she's a relatively new actor. She's not in a whole lot. She was in that movie and Between Two Ferns, the documentary. So oh God, what is her name? I don't fucking remember. But that movie's hilarious.
Yeah.
I haven't
also
really seen a really fucking good movie in a long
in a
time.
while.
Like there hasn't been any just
There
bangers.
was. Have you seen the newest Spider-Man? Because that was actually pretty good.
I haven't got a
Spider-Man.
chance to see it.
That one,
Boy,
When did you go see it, Michael?
like a month ago or something.
I didn't even know you went to go see it.
Yeah. Well, you gotta remember, I have free access to all that stuff as soon as it comes out.
It's like, dude, you should have said
so I
something.
can kinda-
I went with you because I would have
I can
want
kind
to
of
watch
pick
it.
and choose. Now, I will say, that movie, I didn't know what to expect because we've been in that drought of good movies. It was definitely worth it.
Everybody's been saying that.
so
I know
good.
it's been good. I just haven't found the time to go watch it.
I've been hearing good things recently about the new Batman movie.
I've heard basically
I've heard
the same
okay
thing of
things.
that. The movie itself is good, but Catwoman is just so cringy. It brings the entire average of the movie down.
That's what I thought it would be. Because I'm personally a fan of the old Batman movies. And when I say old Batman movies, I'm talking Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
You're talking Adam
Old.
West, huh?
Well, no, I used to watch I had the Adam West movie. I still own it. That was the best Bat car. I'll tell you that. That was the best Bat car.
Batmobile.
Or Batmobile, yeah. Because after all, that was the movie with shark repellent spray.
I mean, Adam West was the original Batman on the TV.
All I have to say about my Batman movies is bring back the rubber nipples. The rubber nipples were what made the suit.
You know, honestly, the best Batman movies was the Dark Knight series with Christian Bale.
The Dark Knights were top tier.
The Dark Knight is probably one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah.
Like,
because
it's pretty tough to find people that say anything bad about it. The only thing some people say that get really impatient is that it's long. It's a 2.5 hour movie. But
Right.
other than that, you find no one that's really complaining about it. Like my mom, that really doesn't like action movies or anything like that, will sit down and watch The Dark Knight if it's on and not complain.
yeah,
The Dark Knight.
I honestly, I wish we would see more good DC movies, but Marvel has just blown it completely out of the water as of recent. Like,
Well, so basically how it comes down to is that it's like, it just, Marvel makes the best live action movie adaptations and stuff, and DC makes the worst, but DC makes the best cartoon movies you could see, where Marvel makes some pretty meh shows.
yeah,
Right.
And that kind of seems to help, because honestly, like, you can't say that DC doesn't have good ass fucking movies. If you want to see any good movie from DC, animated movie that is, not live action movies, but if you want to see any awesome movies to put it, just watch any of the Justice Leagues. Like, dude, they're fantastic. Whereas I don't know what keeps happening, because DC definitely can have some fucking awesome live action movies. Just bad because they have the characters. They have the most bad, some of the most iconic and badass characters of all time. Not so much anymore because of what Marvel has done with the cinematic universe. But I mean, like before, like Iron Man, the character that started the entire MCU, wasn't the most popular on the Avengers and Marvel. Like he wasn't the most popular character.
Yeah.
It's Marvel honestly wasn't the most popular thing. It was all DC, but then the MCU started and just fucking killed it. So
The only complaint about the MCU as it stands is, or at least that I have, is how weak they portray Thor to be.
I kind of like what they've been doing. I mean, they're doing like a, he's too arrogant to really do his true strength. But I mean, he's honestly pretty accurate to the comic book Thor, like in power. He's not like Norse lore Thor.
Well,
Norse lore
I
Thor
don't know
can crack
about
the
that
fucking
because-
earth.
Well, because that was what he was in the comics too.
Kinda, not really.
Not entirely, but he was definitely up there.
And he's definitely one of the strongest, and he is still portrayed in, like, especially the actual Avengers movies, of one of the strongest.
Yeah.
But basically what they've been doing is like this coming of age thing. But their thing, like, besides and except, obviously, I know I'm going to like it when I go see it. The new Spider-Man movie is definitely the outlier. But ever since Endgame came out, and after Ragnarok and everything before, after Ragnarok and before Endgame and such came out, they keep doing like this constant kind of caddish comedy. And
Yeah.
I like it every now and then, but it's really become an absolute major focus. And sometimes to me, it's just super jarring. Of like, and it's like I saw Black Widow, which wasn't a horrible show, but they keep making jokes and references to her Black Widow stance. You know, one leg out and the other knee down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, it was funny, but then they keep talking about it and keep talking about it like it's the funniest shit. And it just kind of gets to the point where you're not even laughing at it anymore. You're like, okay, I guess she did it again.
She did it again.
There's the thing. She did the thing. Well, you know,
Didn't do a superhero landing.
you know, we all gotta toss one out for Tony because Tony used to eat cheeseburgers.
Tony
used to sit in the donut.
We watched last Sunday the new Fast and the Furious movie.
Did you watch it with your family?
Yes.
Family.
That is a wild fucking ride. It is so painfully obvious at this point that they know what they're doing. Like, they're making fun of themselves. Like, there's, for real, multiple occasions, like, one part, like, literally a 5-minute scene where Roman is literally calling himself out because there was a scene where he had one bulletproof vest on and a t-shirt underneath and was surrounded by 8 guys with AKs, and he had one AK-47. And every bullet hit the vest, and he came out unscathed. And he's coming up, he's like, guys, I was surrounded by 8 guys. I should have been dead. I landed on a mine, but got away from it. I should be dead. I mean, constantly. They went into fucking space, all this stuff. And it's funny, but that movie was for real 2.5 hours long. And it was so much longer than what it needed to be. Honestly, could have been a really fun and funny, entertaining ride if it was like an hour and a half. But it got to the point where it's just like they kept going and going, and it was a pretty shitty movie. The writing was fucking awful. Like, for real, the writing basically has them jumping from point to point, climaxing this plot point, and then before finishing it off, completely skipping it to the next point. And it was an awful movie, but it was still somewhat entertaining of, still just watching stupid shit, and especially with just how much they have acknowledged how stupid it is. But also being somewhat of a car enthusiast and knowing just enough to be somewhat knowledgeable about cars. at one of the very beginning parts of the movie, they're in a Dodge Charger, a Hellcat with a custom hood on it that wasn't real, and they were in a Charger that was manual, and there is no manual option in the Chargers. So I'm like, okay, maybe they, custom built one, because Dodge has done that for them before. Custom built Hellcats for them. No, they didn't. The foot panel to add an extra pedal for the camera was fake. And
Nice.
every time he'd move the gear shift, he'd move it down from neutral to drive. It was the auto. It has the same stick as what yours does, Chris. Just
Nice.
Funny.
It's like, dude, I was sitting there fucking chuckling the entire time. And I counted on one part for one of Dom's Chargers, his 70 Charger with a 5-speed, 4-speed, 1-speed automatic, or 1-speed overdrive. So 5-speed total. Gear shifted 12 times. It got faster every time.
It's he added his extension port on there.
I mean, that
family.
was definitely part of the joke of the movie. But, oh my God. I'm glad I watched it once. And it was worth, I'd say, especially if you've seen all of them and you're in on the joke at least. If you're looking for a serious action movie, go somewhere else. But if you're in on the joke and you've seen them all, it's worth a one-time watch. But I will never watch that again. Every time after that, it'll feel like a complete, utter waste of my time. Because it was starting to get that way right at the end.
Yeah,
And they're going to make another one because Cypher's still on the loose.
I don't know. I feel like we're gonna have like Fast and Furious 20, where they're resurrecting the Roman Legion and racing in V8 Chargers and chariots.
Racing the Roman Legion.
It's getting to the point where the main fucking actors are getting too old. Like, when it gets to the point, it's like Star Trek. I know Star Trek has a massive following. I've never been too into it. I've seen a bit about it. But there is generations of movies. And like Doctor Who is the same way. Of like, it's the same movie and the same show, but they just come back as soon as the old actors get too old and then put new actors in here like it's going to be the same thing. Like, there's been rumors of Iron Man possibly coming back, but it's not going to be Robert Downey Jr.
See, how does that even work? They killed his ass.
But it's going to be in a different universe. Like, it's just going to be a flat Iron Man movie.
Yeah, I don't think
because
that's a good idea.
Even though, they're still making movies, after Iron Man died, except for Spider-Man. Honestly, Spider-Man has been so far the one exception of boosting to the number one grossing movie of all time and number one grossing product of all time. With Spider-Man being the exception, their movies since Endgame have not performed nearly as well as what any of the other ones did since they killed off Iron Man.
Yeah.
And so, they're going to do something drastic to increase profits. I am not excited for Eternals. I think that looks stupid.
I haven't seen it.
I didn't even think it was out yet.
No, Eternals has been out.
Oh, I didn't know it's been out. But, like, that's my whole thing is we just sat here. And it's the same thing why I hated Captain Marvel's portrayal. We just sat for the last 10 years getting attached to these characters, seeing them go through world-ending things and overcoming it, to just them being fucking children compared to these all-knowing, omniscient beings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, that just basically ruined my experience and my enjoyment for all the older movies and getting attached to these characters. It's like the same thing, like...
Because now you know it didn't matter.
It's like you're sitting there walking around, like, say it's 18, year 18. We'll just say year 18. You're walking around with your fucking stick in your tribe, and you have this cool stick, and your other Ooga Booga comes up and offers you another stick, and you attach this stick to your stick, and now you've got a bigger stick. It's better. Then other people come and do the same thing, and you spend 10 years building this massive stick and making it awesome. You're proud of it. You're happy with it. And then some other chump shows up with a stick that's like 3 feet taller than it, and it's just one whole stick starting out that way.
Stick.
Yeah.
You're going to start feeling pretty shit and pissed
Yeah.
off that you spent all that time with this other stick. Of like, man, there was just fucking bigger and better out there in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's also, I really liked MCU, especially like the main reason why my favorite MCU character is Iron Man is because of, obviously it's very fiction, but of how real he is, of just, it's the Batman scenario, why Batman is probably a lot of people's favorites, whether they realize it or not, because of how real he could be, of just a super rich, intelligent man that can just, it's just this dude that's figuring it all out along with us. And then, like, Captain Marvel shows up and just says, "Oh yeah, you guys lost to Thanos because I wasn't here."
That's a joke, because in Endgame, when she's like, "I'm here now," and she is talking to Peter Parker, and then she gets bitch slapped by Thanos, and that's the end of it.
Well,
you don't
the
see
thing
her
is,
anymore in
too-
that. Like, he did not even waste a second with her.
Well, the issue was that I had with it that he couldn't do anything against her, but he grabbed a stone, and it was the Power Stone, and was able to punch her. Because even though you could be the most powerful being in the world, you're not more powerful than a stone, than an Infinity Stone. That was my issue. Like, I think he could have at least put up a good fight. Like, I mean, I was ready for a Hulk versus Thanos fight, and I never got it. Like, we got that one scene at the beginning of Infinity War, and it honestly really showed how strong Thanos was, and it made him scary to watch the Hulk get his fucking ass beat by Thanos.
Yeah, 100%.
Because instead of, like, oh, I'm going to pull out some trick. No, Thanos literally just takes his armor off, and he's like, all right, time for a boxing match with the fucking Hulk.
The fucking Hulk.
And
like,
lays him out on the floor.
I knew it was going to be fucking good, and that Thanos was nothing to be scoffed at when his henchman, I don't remember his name, holds back the bigger, badder brute and says, "Let him have his fun." Like, dude, that was such a good thing. I think Thanos is one of the best written villains, and I don't think they're ever going to come back from it. There's nothing they can do to make it as intense as what Thanos was. And I know technically in the Marvel universe, there is bigger and badder in Thanos, but I think they played the card too early, I guess. Or they really, in my opinion, I think it'd be almost better if they would finish up what they have, finish up some of the outliers, and not try to build a whole new, basically a new Avengers is what they're trying to do from what I heard with like Eternals and such, is introduce these new characters, the characters we know and love that are Avengers and everything, get their one-off movies, but you'll never see them together again.
Or they'll get their own string of TV shows.
Yeah, but that's just movies in general. Like, I'm trying to think, besides any superhero movie, what movie, besides Spider-Man, because I haven't seen Spider-Man, in recent time has come out and just been like, man, that was a good fucking show.
I'm wondering about the French Dispatch, because I really like Wes Anderson films.
I've never even heard of it. That's also have my issue, is that I don't have cable and I have YouTube Premium and such, and when I don't, I have ad block, so I don't see ads. So a lot of these things go flying underneath my radar unless they're popular enough to where YouTube pushes the trailer to my front page. That's kind of the issue I have, where like a lot of these movies come out and I just have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know A Quiet Place 2 came out until last week.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, which I really enjoyed the first one, but honestly, I don't know how they could do a sequel. I just don't see it being as good and as intense as what the first one was, because A Quiet Place, I love horror movies, and I'm a really big stingy bastard for horror movies. Nothing scares me. Nothing freaks me out. The only thing to ever truly give me the heebie-jeebies was the movie Annihilation, which was a sci-fi action horror. It wasn't really 100% horror, with this half bear, half cow, and basically the whole premise was like it was the Shimmering alien that was mutating DNA and muting multiple, basically anything that was touching another thing, it was mutating it. And this bear attacked this girl and killed her, and it mutated her cells into the bear. And so they heard this girl screaming for help, but it was the bear just mimicking the last thing she heard. And it comes in slobbering and everything and just looking right in their ears and everything, thinking about eating them, because it was like, obviously, don't make any sudden movements. And it's just going, help me. And dude, that was fucking freaky. But like, A Quiet Place was really good. And it just such an interesting concept of just, you have to be dead fucking silent no matter what. And that was part of the scary part of that show, of not knowing what the rules of the universe are. You know, the movie starts off with them walking on sand barefoot on a sand trail across a bridge with this kid playing with a fire truck or something.
It was like
and
a
then
spaceship.
Yeah, it's something. It's like, I don't know, it's just they gave him a battery for some reason, or he found one. I don't remember what exactly.
Yeah.
And then he just gets swiped by this thing. And it's just was so interesting. And the scary part was not knowing the rules of like, okay, what the fuck do they got to do? How are they supposed to live? But now we've seen an entire movie where a woman gave birth, they fought off these things with a shotgun, which I think as soon as you go loud, it's just a matter of time of how much you're going to be dead. Because you just kind of exponentially attract them. Because those things, once they kind of knew you were there, you were kind of fucked. And you start shooting. If they can hear from miles away a little spaceship toy, they're definitely going to hear the sound of a 12 gauge getting slugged into their buddy's shoulder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so,
and then they also did that
ends.
fireworks show.
Yeah, they did the fireworks show. And the movie ends with her racking the shotgun. And I thought that was a fitting end. I loved that movie. I thought that was really good. Good concept. Good execution. It was very interesting. I enjoyed every minute of it. For a movie that had, I think, a total of a paragraph of dialogue, it was amazing. And then I heard they made a second one. They were making a second one. And I'm like, huh. I don't see the tensions being the same. I feel like it's going to turn into like a fucking action movie, like I Am Legend. But I Am Legend does it right, because I Am Legend's like a 3-hour movie, whereas the first half of it's kind of like building this, introducing you into the world, and then turning into like, okay, now that we figured out the rules, we're going to have some fun with it. But I Am Legend never comes out and says, yeah, we're a horror movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Where Quiet Place was on the tin, like, this is a horror movie. So to do a sequel to the horror movie with everything already kind of being figured out, just like, oh, just be really quiet.
It takes away the tension. Of like, okay, you're coming into this knowing the rules, now you're just watching the outcome. And it was like that, like, and that's why, I guess, now that I finally said that, it finally clicked in my head of why I don't like the Walking Dead series. The games I love, but I liked the first season of The Walking Dead. I thought it was a great show. It had me hooked. And then the second season came around and I got bored after the third episode. Like, honestly, I was the most interested. My favorite episode is when they're in the CDC and they're figuring it out and stuff like that and trying to see what's going to happen. And then they do the most bullshit. And this is just the writing of even the original comics that the show is based off of how shit it is. Of just, it's a virus that everyone has. You either get it by getting bit or you just die, and no matter what, you're going to turn into a zombie unless you're shot in the head. And so I'm like, that's kind of a fucking cop out. But after that point where it just got to, yeah, there's no cure, this is life now, instantly fucking bored. I'm like, okay, so now we're just watching people. Because if I just wanted to watch a fucking sitcom or people just talking to each other, I'd watch a show that's not, I'd watch a show that's not in the fucking zombie apocalypse. because there's
Right.
no tension in it. Like, it's the zombie, especially from what I heard now in later seasons, the zombies are purely an afterthought. Like, I think there's even, I've heard of full on like
recently-
episodes in a row going without even seeing a zombie.
Yeah, I think in the latest seasons, because one of my sisters is big into the show. I think it is just about only like people versus people now.
Yeah. And like, it's interesting for a little bit to see truly, and honestly, I think showing the people versus people stuff as a maybe not quite as dramatic, but probably even more brutal. People are fucked up, and at our base animalistic instincts, people are pretty fucked up. Like, you know, even though we're all friends and everything, but if it came down to it, I'm sure in the zombie apocalypse, if we all met together, I'm sure we'd crew up and be all right. But if a zombie apocalypse break out, all internet and all communications go, you guys live in Davenport, I live in fucking Bluegrass. So, you know, we're far enough away to where we're just going to fucking fend for ourselves.
Oh, don't worry, I got a bike. I'll come over. I'll visit you.
Bikes are quieter than cars too.
I
will-
put a stick on the end of my handlebars.
I will say this, Kane. If you ever turn into a zombie, I'm not killing you outright. I'm keeping you Shaun of the Dead style in my shed. We're gonna play video games together.
Hell yeah.
You just fucking
But
just like chewing on an Xbox controller.
You know what? Honestly, zombie game
alright,
scares
Kane,
me
make
the
your
most.
loadout.
Zombie movie / game scares me the most. The first Last of Us, because of the disease, cordyceps, of how scarily real that is, to where we actually have in the last 5 years seen it jump from plants to ants and now to like small rodents, of it basically growing into them, creating that mushroomish look on them, and then basically controlling them, looking for food and such, and making it grow and spread.
Oh, those like fungal infections.
Yeah, that's called cordyceps. That's real. Like the whole Last of Us, like the first, like the zombies in The Last of Us is cordyceps. That's real. Like that's, I mean, it's a stretched reality, but to be honest, it's not that far off. I mean, in our lifetime, it'll probably never evolve to get to the point where it can infect humans the way that the games do.
Yeah.
But I can see, and I don't think, honestly, a real zombie apocalypse in today's world will never happen. The world will never collapse. I think there's a movie, I got to remember what it's called. It's with Batista on Netflix that shows, honestly, the most realistic depiction of what a modern day zombie apocalypse was. I mean, it was the same stereotypical start of, you know, a military convoy is transporting patient X and they fuck up and patient X gets out and starts the pandemic and the epidemic and it spreads. It's spread all over Las Vegas, and within 3 days of it being known that Las Vegas is going to fall, they took shipping containers from all around the world, boarded up Las Vegas in a giant circle, and contained it. The rest of the world lived on. That is the most, I mean, for it being a pretty off-the-wall, pretty badass action zombie movie that's not supposed to be scary, it's just supposed to be a fun action movie to watch, was the most realistic depiction, in my opinion, of what probably would happen in a real zombie apocalypse. I think the spread would be a citywide before it got totally shut down and, you know, collapsed, condemned. I don't think it would be, you know, the entire world shutting down. I think that would have to be one fast motherfucker.
Well,
And especially
if I
the
learn-
worst I could see it getting is maybe a continent. Maybe. If
Yeah.
it just goes rampant too far.
And it depends on the
But
continent,
once
too.
you yeah.
Like, if Australia gets it, it's lost. No one go to Australia. It'll die there.
Yeah, the giant spiders will eat them.
And
There we go.
it also depends
The
on the
kangaroos.
type of zombie. For most infections and stuff depicted, obviously all we can go after is what's in movies and TV shows and games. because this stuff hasn't happened, so we have no concept of what it would be in real life. The actual apocalypse would only last about 60 to 90 days because of the flesh rot. And it would get to the point where bones can't, it's not Dungeons and Dragons out there. Bones can't move without muscles and ligaments. And it takes about 60 to 90 days of zero nourishment and death and rigor mortis to set in, but for bone or muscles and ligaments completely just disintegrate.
No, I can tell you what's going to
the
happen.
counter argument there is my neighbor definitely had a moving skeleton on their porch around October. So
I don't know why I
explain that
thought the first thing that popped in my head is that you're about to tell me, well, what if I just water my zombie?
Yeah, what if I just like rub meat paste on it?
What I'm thinking is Australia's going to fall, and the fungal infection is instead going to learn how to use photosynthesis, and we're going to have skeletons. We're going to be able to fight D&D style down under. Yeah,
Dude, so I've got to think then.
Down under.
I was watching Kitchen Nightmares at lunch today. That's my new show. I love Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. And one thing I honestly have always wanted to do is run my own restaurant, have my own restaurant and such. And I was thinking I'm like, dude, I would do it like a fantasy style. I would call it like the Orcs Tavern or something like that. Whereas theme it up to be like an old school fantasy tavern, have good, rugged, rustic, family style meals, nothing fancy, and have like fucking live entertainment for people to come and play their lutes and shit, and have a little, like a bar and such. I think that would be fucking badass.
I agree.
If you guys, everyone has thought about in their lifetime running their own restaurant / bar. Have you guys? What would your guys be?
I don't know. If I were to do a restaurant, I'd probably do something, pretty basic.
I guess. Well, let me rephrase it. Any business you would like to run / own, because like in an ideal world where everything goes as savvy, planned, you're not like in the depths of your hemorrhaging money because you can't afford the rent. You can have the business you want and be successful at it. What business would you want? I would pick the restaurant / bar, like I already described. Let me phrase it that way.
I would also probably do a restaurant, but that comes from my love of cooking. I enjoy food. I enjoy experimenting with different tastes and flavors and dishes. So I'd probably do a restaurant as well. Other than that, maybe manufacturing, something like that.
Gotcha. Topher.
Yeah, I think it's got to be a bar for me. It's the whole shut the fuck up. It's the whole mixing drinks and the music, and
So
everyone's having a good time.
Let's dig into it. What type of bar / restaurant? Like I gave you my type and what I would do. Would you do Italian? Would you do normal dines and dives bar of, you come in, get a burger basket and get a couple of beers?
See, I'll let you go first.
Yeah. I think my thing is a lot like the afterlife from Cyberpunk.
Okay.
That, but with more kind of flash put on the bar. A lot more like
Less
fancy ass drink mixing with like bartenders juggling like a glass weirdly. And
so a contemporary place, very modern.
Yep.
Or hyper modern, I believe that
Hyper
type of
modern,
genre
yeah.
is supposed to be.
Yep. Something like that.
I'm kind of the other route. I'm, as
Specializes
you may
in the
know,
round meal.
Well, no, I'm not the round meal. I'm much
The
more
round
of an
meal.
older style. I like places like Cat's Deli, places with history, and but the other thing is I like a lot of Asian flavors. I like the salty, savory kind of sauces.
Talking about a restaurant, not in your basement.
No.
Nice, dude.
I'm talking about like that kind of style. Just because it's just the food and the flavors
Almost
I like.
like everything's cooked on some sort of cast iron implement with So a lot of that flavor gets kept and like wooden spoons.
Yeah, because as some of you may know, I am a firm believer in charcoal grills. I understand the convenience of a propane one, but I'd rather chop my own leg off before I ever buy one. Because I feel the best flavor can come from not necessarily the best ingredients, but how well you treat your ingredients. Because, I mean, you can change a dish entirely by if you just roast some of your spices in a pan before you add them to your dish. And I do that with some of my recipes that I do. And I'd love to make my... I know my curry is one that I keep promising Kane.
Yeah, for like 6 months now.
Yeah, so I'll have to... One day I'll have to bring all my stuff over and cook you guys a curry. But I don't know. Because I like that kind of style, but then I also like, you know, Cat's Deli, like I said, where it's kind of a much more relaxed kind of, you know, the mobster kind of thing where you have, like, your regulars that come in and you have a special seating area for them. Kind of that familiarity.
So family dining.
Atmosphere. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well.
None of that French fine dining shit where it's like, haha, we will give you 18 meals, all of which have one singular piece of celery and a raisin.
And it'll cost you it'll cost you $400. Welcome to hell.
I will give you
Welcome to hell. You're being tortured.
for $4,000.
You're being tortured.
No, like that's one of those things where if I had a shit ton of money, I'd want to go to a really expensive restaurant like that once just to see why anyone does it, or if it's literally just because look at all the money I have to set
Honestly,
on fire eating a weird small portion of steak.
Unless you're like wanting to go to the place where they have like gold flakes in steak.
Right.
Like you can go to any like higher-ish class restaurant and like if you're just there like, okay, I'm here to spend $200, you can get that experience of fine dining. And I just think it's butt fucking useless. But I plan on
100% it's useless.
Once I'm 21, I plan on finding like a place that I can go and get a nice expensive glass of wine, a cigar, and a steak and leave with holes in my pocket just to say I did it once.
Right.
And
yeah,
then
100%.
Never do it again.
We kind of sort of did that when we went, after we won the world championship for robotics, and we went to Boston for that party thing that they threw. We went to that Brazilian steakhouse, Fogo de Chao, and I shit you not, the bill when we were done with tip was like $1,200.
Jesus Christ.
Well, $1,200, and there was how many of you there?
Yeah, that's true. There was like probably 25 of you there.
Yeah.
So altogether, that's not horrible.
25.
We went to in Myrtle Beach Krabby Mike's, which is basically like a all-you-can-eat genuine like
lobster fest.
Like it's a seafood place. It's all you can eat, but it's not like fucking Golden Corral type of buffet. It's like there's people there with literally entire
class Golden Corral.
There's like guys standing there with legit freshly caught that day and very high class like king crabs that you go and get whole crab legs and all you can eat and stuff like that. Excellent
desserts. Pick up the whole damn crab out of the water.
There was if seafood wasn't your fancy, there was fucking ribeye steak, there was ribs. I mean, it was
sliced off the cow.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, it was really good food. Honestly, not personally my taste. I wouldn't go there, not only for the fucking price I'm about to tell you, but also everything. I don't like seafood that much, like, at all.
I'm with you there.
Like, even just the smell makes everything have that kind of seafoody taste. Even though technically it wasn't made with seafood. It isn't seafood. It has that taste to it.
It's the smell.
Yeah, it's the smell because like the smell's actually a big part of your taste. But for when we went there, I was offering to pay for myself, but my mom and dad said, "No, we got you. It's fine. We saved up for this trip. We'll treat all the kids." And it was me, my mom, my dad, my little brother, and his friend Bryce. For
So
five of us to get a pop, we all got a soda. No one got alcohol with us. And actually, I got three of us got a water. I got a water, so 2 pops and 5 for the buffet. $293 without tip.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Per person?
Not per person. That was the total bill.
$300 per
$300 per person.
Oh man.
Yeah, let's take out a
That's
fucking
very beautiful.
mortgage to go to Krabby Mike's. The only thing that was good was
Lobster.
the only thing that was good about that place was that they have the Krabby Mike van, and it's literally the fucking like mystery machine painted blue with a fucking crab on it. Like they put this huge giant PVC crab that's wrapped around this whole thing and 2 claws sticking out of the front. I'm like, dude, let's do the crab van.
The crab van.
That makes me think of the Oscar Mayer weenie van.
It pretty much was
That
that.
or,
It was like it was there, but it was crabs. It was a crab.
Well, I like that. Dude,
Or like Hertz Donuts has the fucking wambulance.
you know, everyone has their dream cars of like, oh, I want this like 97 Charger.
If you're gonna
No,
say
I
the
want the
fucking
fucking-
weenie mobile,
I want the Wienermobile because,
Wiener van?
like, trust me, you pull up to a Chuck E. Cheese's in the Wienermobile, instantly guaranteed you're getting like all the tickets and tokens.
Nah, see
You,
you pull up
you
to
thought I was gonna say something about pulling pussy, but instead of Chuck E.
nah, you pull up to a bitch's house with a like Corvette. Nah, bitches ignore your ass. You pull up in the fucking Oscar Mayer weenie van. That's a get out of virgin free card.
It is. Just like if you have your forklift certification.
If you ever show up to anybody's place in a fucking forklift,
You know I'm instantly being invited in. Like, who can you say
Just gonna-
personally that you know that is not only forklift certified, but owns a forklift?
My
it's
dad.
more of like I'm gonna invite you in because I'm gonna make sure you're okay driving down the road in a forklift.
hi, I think you're suicidal. Would you like to come in?
Yeah, like there's something wrong with you.
Honestly, it's one of my life goals: become forklift certified and drive a forklift around. That or buy a T-34 Russian tank off. Like
I've driven a
military
forklift around
surplus.
quite a bit, and I'm not forklift certified, but I've done it quite a bit.
The mysticism about the forklift is that OSHA has to tell you not to stunt drive it, which makes it known
talk
that
about
people have stunt-driven forklifts, which makes you then want to drive it off of a makeshift ramp that you made out of like shipping containers. Forklift certifications and cheese—that's what you need.
You and the fucking cheese.
Oh my god.
You know, because we were talking about gold flakes this episode with food. I've got my cheese facts for next week.
The suspense. They'll have to tune in next week to know the gold cheese fact.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
so make
gold-
sure you hit that bell icon to get notified when we go live.
Yeah.
Episodes go live.
It's like we don't
Wednesdays,
like to lie.
12 at noon.
Subscribe, leave a dislike, and a notification.
Don't do that. See, you know what?
Oh,
You know what
look,
about that dislike button? You can press that button all you want because you don't
Yeah.
even get to see the number
I don't get to see
because
it. I
you
don't.
are a bunch of.
I get to see it.
Hey, you get to see it, but are
Yeah,
you going to tell
but-
us? Hope
See, that's
Yeah.
the thing.
That's all
Damn
you
it,
feel
my
shit.
video got us like 7 million dislikes. If we ever get to that point.
You can take your dislike and you can shove it.
You can shove it up your bahonky.
Bahonky.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we will leave that here. And I hope you all enjoyed listening to this episode, and I will see you all later.
No, you won't.
Bazinga.